Oh my God.
There it goes. Okay.
Okay, good. How does it sound?
Good.
Okay, perfect.
Uh-oh. I'm trying to figure out how I can move myself up. Let's see. I feel like an old lady over here trying to figure out this.
I know, right? Like,
My little tripod broke, so I'm gonna have to hold this up. I put my phone up. I propped it up. Let's see. That may be good right there. Okay. All right. I'll just hold it.
okay. How does it's working? It's
Mhm.
good.
It
Okay,
is.
perfect. All right. So this is Doula Talk Tuesdays. This is our first of many. Um, it's just crazy how God and life work. We was literally talking about this last week, and here we
I,
are
I
doing
know
it.
it.
So I'm very excited because, like how we were talking last week, we just got so much we want to say. We have so many experiences, we have so many testimonies, and just so many reasons on why we became a doula, why doula work is important in this space as women, as mothers, as Black women. We can just go down the line. So
Right.
before we begin, we are going to introduce and share a brief story about our experiences and how we became a doula. So I'm going to let you go first, girl.
All right. So I'm Candace. I'm the owner of Be Well. I am a miscarriage, birth, and postpartum doula. And what really brought me into doing doula work was it was 2019, and I was in the military at the time, and I ended up having a miscarriage. And I went through that process, and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have anyone to kind of talk to about the process. And I ended up going to the hospital, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're experiencing a miscarriage," and kind of sent me home, and that was it. And so at that point, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like what do I do?" I didn't know what was going on, what was supposed to happen, what to look forward to. And so I miscarried at home. And then at that moment, I was like, women need somebody to kind of hold their hand through this process. And I didn't realize what a doula was. My husband did research and found out what a doula was. He actually became a doula before me. And so at
Wow.
that point, that's when we ended up getting into doula work. And I actually started Be Well as an herbal apothecary for women with reproductive health issues. So I was helping women with PCOS, just ovarian cysts, endometriosis, infertility, all of that with herbal products. And then it kind of branched out into the doula work. And then it branched out into the placenta encapsulation. Then it branched out to doing something else, So it's like I'm
That's how it
constantly
works.
expanding. Exactly. I'm constantly expanding. I'm constantly learning, and it's just this is what has become my passion, and it fuels me. So I'm glad that I met you, my
I
doula sister.
know, I know. And just like before I start on our journey, well, my journey, we met through an organization here based in the Jackson, Mississippi area. And we were just like both moms, just momming it out. Like I was telling people before, you may see me now, but 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I be telling people I was busted, disgusted. I was going through it. Like I was really in my darkness, but I still seen, like, even though I was in my darkness, I was getting out of the dark, but I seen other women that were in the same situation. I just wanted to be a servant. I just wanted to serve. So through the organization, Mommy, we met and I was just serving and you was getting stuff. We were
Yeah.
just doing it and we just crossed paths, but I didn't even know any of the things that she have done until I went to the MPHI conference a couple of weeks back, and she was a panelist, and I was like, "What the heck?" Because the last time I seen her was at a Christmas event, and we was looking like moms. We was running and stuff, but to see her in her element, she was really talking what she knew, and just hearing her testimony, I'm like, you doing it. So I just, again, before I even get into myself, I always got to give people flowers. Like, this is like the beginning. Like, you really birthing something special. And just to see it, and just me just seeing you in it, and literally a year before, it's just
Yeah.
mind blowing. But it just goes to show you, like, God can work, God can change, and it's possible. And even this going down to a different route, but it's just on my mind because I just feel like it's like a lot of women, a lot of mothers going through stuff, and they sometimes don't believe, like, you can make your dreams a reality. You can do what you want to do. Like, y'all know she a baker. I just seen today she was a baker and she be
Yeah.
making some good cakes. I just thought she was a little, okay, a baker. No, she is a baker. And I'm
Girl,
sorry
I
to
do
go inside.
everything.
Yes.
It's so
But
much. So
it
much.
just goes to show you, like, us as women, we can do a lot, and it's just beautiful to see. But I just wanted to say that.
Well, thank
But a little bit about me. The reason why I became a doula is because I had a home birth. I became pregnant. God finally blessed me. I was doing my hanky pank. God was like, you know what? It's time to go ahead, pop you out a little one. So I became with child during COVID in 2021, and I instantly knew, because of COVID and protocols that was going on in the hospital, where some women was birthing by themselves. They had to have a face mask on. They didn't have nobody in the room with them. I just knew, with me being a first time mom, I did not want that for my birthing story, especially with this being my first child, and I'm all the way down here from Mississippi. I'm from St. Louis, so I just knew I wanted a different route. And then also, I was going through, I can say it because it's my testimony. I was going through that spirituality crap. I'm saved, sanctified, redelivered myself. But back then, I was going through some other things, and I was like, no, I want to do the natural way, even though it was good now. But because of that, I start utilizing my resources. So instantly, I start researching, like, who's the best doulas in the area, who's the best midwives. And that just goes to what we're going to talk about later is research. If you know you
you.
want to do something as far as your birthing work and how your birthing plan want to be, do your research. So I actively start doing my research. I found my midwife. I got her in the luck of time, because we're going to talk about this. In Mississippi, it's hard to get locked in with a midwife because it's not a lot of midwives, and baby, they be plucking them, and they can only have so many during each month. And so I was luckily enough able to get my midwife. I was able to get my doula. The doula that I did ended up with, she was actually passing along. The first person who was my doula, she couldn't doula me anymore, so she moved me to someone else, but she was great as well. Long story short, I had my daughter January 2022, right before the ice storm. I don't know if many of you all remember down south, it was like a bad ice storm, like the beginning of February. So I guess Ori knew, like, look, let me go ahead, pop out. It's time to pop out. So I literally had my daughter in this apartment. Her dad caught her. My midwife was not even there. She was on the phone. It was just me, my doula, and my daughter's dad, and I had an amazing delivery. Even after I had my birth at home, the midwife stitched me up, and they was looking at me like, girl, don't even look like you had a baby. And that's another thing we're going to talk about, the benefits and the pluses of having a doula and having that experience. But just going through the darker side of things, after I had my labor and a beautiful delivery, that's when that postpartum hit. I always tell mothers, they prepare you for the labor, they prepare you for the delivery. You have the cute baby shower, the gender reveal. I had a cute gender reveal. I had the fair as well. But baby, when you have that baby and the village that you thought that was gonna be there and it's not there, it's like a kicker. It's a strong kicker, and things that were little root causes or things that were simmering in your relationship, that's gonna spike up after you
Mhm.
had a baby. You know, everything that you was trying to cover up, everything that you was trying to mask, is going to amplify. And I didn't know none of it. And also we have to keep in mind, as far as like the generation before us, oh, it ain't nothing. You'll get through it. You be strong. This is a new generation now. We got a lot of trauma from us. Plus, we're carrying trauma from my mom, my aunts that was passed down. So it was a lot for me. So I'll start sharing more about like my journey that first year and a half. But I was broken, but still having to be a mom, still having to breastfeed, and during that whole ordeal, I knew like once I get out of this, I gotta help somebody else,
Yeah.
because I know it's another woman going through something even worse than me with one kid, probably already have 3 kids, 4 kids, and probably have lesser resources than I have. So once I was able to heal, leave my relationship, and really start rebuilding me back up, that's when I knew like, okay, it's time for me to really
Yeah.
step in and become this doula, become this village for another young lady, and be that support system that I wish I would have had.
Right.
So that's why I became a doula. I'm very proud of even the work of what I'm seeing so far, like with you and other. I see Leela on here. She's a doula in St. Louis. Just other women down here and just across the United States, because it's power in numbers. And a lot of people don't know how supportive a doula is and what a doula is. So that's my share of my story. So I'm going to turn it back to you. We're going to really start speaking about what is a doula, because a lot of people may know what a doula is, but I know it's a lot of people that are misinformed or who don't know at all what a doula is. So I want you to start off first, because you got a little bit more rank than me up in this thing. So I will let you say, and then I'll go after.
So I would say women have been doulas for their moms, for their aunts, for their sisters, for their daughters since the beginning of time. And so now we've come into this era where it's kind of been modernized, monetized. And so I guess you would say the definition of it now is a trained professional that's trained to give emotional, physical, and informational support to a woman during the process of her birthing or going through fertility, or if she's having a miscarriage or pregnancy loss of any sort, postpartum. You have doulas for all aspects of life. So, like I said, the type of doula I am is birth, postpartum, and also pregnancy loss. But I really hone in on that birth because it's like you got to have your
Yeah.
niche. And so, my niche, I would say, is unmedicated births. And really, that's just special to me because for my first baby, I have 2 little girls, but for my first baby, I had her at the hospital unmedicated. And then I had a home birth for my second baby, and I had her also unmedicated, of course, at home. And so that's really my niche, and that's where my passion is helping women to, find their voice to be able to give birth in the most natural way as possible. Because, we don't realize that there are things out, well, some of us do, but there are so many things that we can do outside of medicine
Yeah.
that are natural comfort measures that allow you to have a pain-free or a less painful birth.
Yeah.
And the recovery is so much different. Even like when I had my first, I was induced with her. So other than the induction medications, I didn't get an epidural or any type of pain medicine. And so the recovery from that was rough. And then after my home birth, it was like a night and day difference from my recovery with that. But so I guess in short, that's what a doula is.
No,
Girl, we
that was
got
good.
stories. I was gonna say we're gonna be telling a lot of
Look,
stories. So
we got to, because again, I feel as though this doula, it was the term doula before, it used to be like unknown, or not even
yeah,
unknown. It used to be, what's the one word where people don't want to I don't know, but it just people really didn't want to touch about it. Just like when it comes to a midwife, people be like, I don't know why you want to do a
Mhm.
midwife. You need to be in a hospital.
Right.
But now people are seeing, unfortunately, the changes in the hospital, in the healthcare field, that
Yeah.
people, unfortunately, the system is focusing on the dollars instead of actually the lives of women. And then also the statistics have shown it's more death rates as far as the births, and that's a whole nother vibe we can talk about, and just the care, and it can go on and on. So many people are really tapping in. My slogan for my doula work is the old time way, birthing the old time way, because our grandmas had 11, 15. I hear people in the South that had 20 kids unmedicated.
Yeah.
So if they can do it back in the gap, like, us women, we are strong. Like, people don't understand, like, we are strong. So although, yes, medicine is good, but if you don't have to use it, you don't have to. And just piggybacking off of you, for me, doula is like your god sister. It's like your big god
Mhm.
sister, your little god sister, depending on your age range. But y'all know how it is when it comes to your god sister. You know, in Cinderella, when you had that godmother that came at that nick of time, you thought you was finna lose it all. You was bust, but they came in the nick of time, and they changed, and they encouraged you. They put wisdom, they put motivation, they sprinkle, they
Yes, yes.
little whatever goodies they had to really transform you into that person that you need to be in that next level. And I really feel as though that's what a doula is, because for you focusing on the birthing, that's great. But for me, I'm really wanting to gear with that postpartum, because when I say that postpartum hit me like a ton of
Mhm.
bricks, and people don't understand that postpartum. And I posted that on my page, is mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally.
Yes,
That stuff
yeah.
attack you on all four levels. And if you not found dated, and I'm gonna just say it, in God, or you ain't found dated of who you are as a woman as well, if you don't have a solid support system, that stuff is going to hit you like a ton of bricks, and you going to be like, what the heck? And this is coming from somebody. I thought I was going to have it easy after I had my daughter, because, oh, I got my master's. I done did so much. I done started a business. I'm just headstrong. I'm a, the
Mhm.
postpartum don't play fair. It will hit anybody at any drop. And I also feel like it's like a silent, it have you question, like, is this postpartum? What's wrong with me? Why am I thinking like this? So it's very important for us as mothers, and even also those who are thinking about having kids, and that's also where you come in. Know what a doula is. Also know what type of doula do you want. Also see if the doula that you want offers all of these services that you may need, because Candace may help you with that whole delivery, the whole labor and stuff, but she may not hit that that postpartum may not be her expertise. She may want to focus on that loss or something, and that's where I may come in and help you. We pass the baton, or we may find you resources for another individual who may help you. So I want you all to be informative and aware of the many options when it comes to doula, and then also what a doula is, because we carry a lot of stuff, and we're also your advocate. So say for instance, if you do decide to birth in the hospital, baby, we gonna be your advocate. If they try to dope you up, we gonna be right there like, she got her birthing plan. Dad, look, we already, and that's another thing. We tell the dads what to do as well. We coach the dads. You have to empower the dads, because so many times in the hospital and in general, we just focus on the mom, but the dad is right here too. He's gonna be hearing the nagging mom. I'm
Mhm,
sorry, y'all know how
mhm,
sometimes we
mhm.
be. So it's also about the dad. So we also empower the dad as well. But the doula is that helping hand when you're not needed, when you don't know it's needed, and it's also that listening ear. Like sometimes it's hard to talk to our family. It's hard to talk to our friends. Sometimes we just want an unbiased person, and that's what the doula is for. And we will be able to recognize, because we've been through it, like, okay, you may need to go to your primary care provider and check or get screening. Something more may be going on. You may need to go to a therapist. We can give you other resources. We may ask your family, hey, can you check in with her? Where's your village? We do these things. We can foresee the iceberg before it even crashes, because we have been there before. So that's what a doula is. And then also, I just want to add, if you all have any questions or comments, please drop them in the chat. I want to say it is a question box. So if you don't want us to like say your name, if you don't want to post it, we can answer questions on the side if you don't want it to post. But again, this live is a very informational live, so we can really let you all know what a doula is and how we can serve. So I want to turn it back over to you. Is something you want to touch on, or what you
Yeah,
have next?
I was gonna say, so something that I wanted to kind of go back to was when you were talking about how, during that postpartum time, how it, really they say like it's one of the most neglected times in a woman's life. And I think we don't do enough educating on what to expect in that postpartum period during the pregnancy. So it's
Yeah.
like the time to educate and learn about all that isn't while you're going through it. And I think that's why so many people miss the symptoms and the signs, and not knowing the difference between baby blues, not knowing the difference
Mhm.
between postpartum anxiety, rage, where it's borderline getting to that depressive state. And so
Mhm.
I think that's also like my jam is the education portion.
Yeah.
And so I try to educate all of my clients in that beginning state. So, while they're pregnant, so they know what to look forward to in, when you're getting on that borderline of, oh, you need to go talk to somebody. And then also another thing that I want to touch on was when you talked about, the dads, believe it or not, also can have postpartum depression,
Yeah.
because you think about it, not only are they experiencing, the birth of a new child, whether it's the first, second, or however, but
Mhm.
there also is a change in their relationship. The woman isn't so
Mhm.
clingy to him, or, she's kind of to herself watching the baby and stuff. And some men just, they become depressive because
Yeah.
there's that change. There's the newness, then it's also that change. And so I don't think that's something that's talked about a lot, where all of this stuff can also affect a man. It's not necessarily hormonal driven like it is with a woman, but it also does happen. And it's just not talked about enough, and there's not enough men advocates out there. My husband is a doula also, but there's not many male that are out there that are educating other men to say, hey, it's okay, like check in for a mental health day, like I got you, man. You know what I'm saying? You don't have that many men checking in with other new dads, and I think that's something that needs to be brought more attention to. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will touch bases on that. I remember the first mommy conference I went to. It was man there. His network, his community is called Daddy University, and he's based in Maryland, and that's what he focuses on. And it was just amazing to see, like, and he told his story. Like, I want to say he has like all daughters, and that's how he got empowered, because he was like, I got a
Mm-hmm.
whole girl, like I need help at
Mm-hmm.
this. Men think they have it easy when they got boys, but when it's
Yeah.
girls, it's like, no, it's a difference. You have to be softer with her. You have to be more gentle with
Right.
her. So I will recommend Daddy University. You all can search that on Instagram. I know he's on Instagram. But like you said, it needs to be a lot of communities. I am grateful during my pregnancy, my midwife was empowering my daughter's dad. Like, she was asking him more questions than me. And I was
Mhm.
looking like, okay, you know, I'm like, why is she asking him this about? But I'm like, no, technically it's not, because he is the one that's around me all the
Right.
time. And again, when it came to me laboring, when I first started having them contractions, he was right there. When we was driving from one place, coming, hurrying up, trying to come back here, he was right there. He was trying to measure the contractions,
Yeah.
checking my bag to see my back protrude. That was him. So again, we have to be aware, and we also have to empower our fathers during this
Mhm.
time, because again, we didn't make this baby by ourselves. He was right.
Exactly.
He was right there up in the club. Okay, so it takes two to tango, and it's gonna take two to really create that environment that you want mamas to really bring your baby out. And then also, again, I do know sometimes every situation is different, but that's where the doula come in. You know, even if things may happen, you know, oh well, that's where your village come in. That's where your doula come in. So hold on, I think we got something else. I was just talking about hosting classes for men to help them understand postpartum for them and a mom.
Yeah.
Yes, that is great. And then also, again, one thing I'm learning, and even just in life in general, sometimes when it comes to health and education, is so much, a lot of verbiage, a lot of language
Mhm.
that some people don't even understand. Even like when I just did my pop-up shop, I was like, hey, you know what a doula is? I was like, no. I just started explaining to him, like how I told y'all, it's like your guys, sister. That was like, oh, okay. So it's just like having classes, hosting information, providing info that's easy for someone to understand so they can see how important this is. Because again, doula work is important, because when you go into that hospital, it's a lot of rules and the regulations, and it's also a lot of times where they push things on you that you
Yeah.
may not even need, or you don't know, or you sign something, you consent something, and you just was talking to us last week that you didn't even want to do it, but you so doped up on the other stuff, you really didn't know, and the dad really didn't want to push anything. So doulas are needed, midwives are needed. So I hope that really helps. Anything you want to say or touch
Yeah.
on?
And moms are less taken advantage of in my eyes, whenever there is a doula or somebody there, because it's like, I'm watching what you do, I'm checking
Mm-hmm.
behind you, I see what you're doing, like I see you,
Mm-hmm.
girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there should be some type of, integration when it comes to like the doctors, the nurses, and the doulas, and also midwives, because we're not coming in as your adversary, like to the nurses and to the doctors, but it's like we're here to advocate for, our clients. And I think that, they kind of look at us like we're the ops when we're
Mm-hmm.
really not.
Yeah.
And so, I actually had an issue. I had an issue at a hospital with some nurses after the fact. And I'm just like, but that's not my, what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But if we all could just get on the same accord, because we're there to take care of that mom and that baby and make sure that they get what they're needing, that they, their wishes are met. And is we're all one team. And but people really don't realize that. They think, we all are against each other, like, oh, nurses do this, and oh, there's a doula there,
Mm-hmm.
or oh no, the doctor's there, or we can't do this or whatever. It's like we all should be working together, because our common goal is for this mom and this baby for the baby to be healthy, for the mom to be healthy, for the mom to, not have any situations. Because in Mississippi, of course, we have the highest maternal and infant mortality rate. So it's like we really don't have the time to be worried about all of that stuff. We need to be focusing on that mom and that baby, because there are lives on the line. And so I don't think that's really at the forefront of providers' minds when we're there as doulas. But we're just there to help, you know. And like you said, we are like that god mama. And I say anybody can be a doula. So
Mhm.
I don't know if you know Shay Pounds, midwife out of Louisiana. So she had said at the conference last year in November, the one that we actually met at, she was saying how, you know, a doula is somebody that's your mama, your grandmama. That there's
Mhm.
been doulas ever since the beginning of time. It's like if you checking in on somebody and bringing them soup or bringing them
Mhm.
some whatever it may be, some cornbread, whatever. Like you are a doula. You checking in on her.
Exactly.
Like it's not that deep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So it's something I think now that has just became a thing, but it's like we've been doing it since the beginning of time because we've been birthing since the beginning of time.
exactly.
So it's
Exactly.
just we just put a new spin on it.
Exactly. And Monica said, I want to do more provider education to help them understand the role of a
Yeah.
doula. Yes, because one thing I'm even realizing what you just said, I just have an epiphany. If we are empowered, if they empower us in the doula work in the healthcare provider setting, say for instance, when something happens, the pushback won't even get to them because if you're
Right.
allowing us to do what we need to do, like you said, a smooth mother delivery, baby delivery, the baby will be safe. The mother is a smooth transaction. It's just like an ever flowing circle. But again,
Right.
I feel unfortunately when it comes to that hospital setting, it's hard. It's
It
hard out here,
is. It is.
So, but I know even with the study groups I'm in, other states are different compared to Mississippi. So that's one thing I also want you all to know. Each state is different. I do know I've seen and looked at research other states. Maybe I heard of like Colorado. That's one midwife who I've been studying with. She came from. They have like midwife hospital, like it's a difference as far as the
Yeah.
work a doula can do, how they are supported. So again, for you moms who are currently pregnant or even thinking about getting pregnant, look at what the doula like guidelines and regulations are and offered in your state. And even when it comes to midwife, because you may want to have a midwife too. And then also that's another thing. You can't have the option be like me and have a midwife and a doula, but if you know you're gonna have that hospital setting, just look into the doula aspect, and just see if you just okay, maybe it's just I want a postpartum. I have my village, let me get the postpartum.
Right.
Or if you had a good labor, you the pregnancy delivery doula, okay, I don't need a postpartum. I got a strong village. But you know your village better than anyone else. But I will say it's not bad to have that doula tuck in your back pocket for that postpartum because again,
Mhm.
you don't know how that postpartum is gonna hit. You don't know how your family gonna be once after you had a baby because I'm gonna say it, I thought y'all asked for the baby.
Yeah.
Where's the support? That's how they always be. Oh, we to have a baby. I'm ready for you to have a baby. Okay, the baby here. Where the support? I need the support. So again, mamas, we're not trying to make you be scared, but again, we're trying to bring awareness and let you all know what the business is because again, that change in motherhood is gonna grow you up. Like
Yeah.
it ain't no basic training wheels. You full fledged riding this motorcycle. Like,
Yeah.
but again, what's gonna give you strength is your baby. So it is light because again, when I was feeling dark, when I was feeling lost, that girl was my light. She was pushing me. She was on my boobs. So that's another thing a lot we got to talk about the breastfeeding aspect. Many of the doulas are aware and lactation consultants like both of us. So even if you decide to breastfeed, the doula can be right there supporting you. We'll be able to tell you, hey sis, no, go ahead, tuck it. We'll be able to coach you into that because breastfeeding is another ordeal in itself. So just imagine going through postpartum, but you still trying to supply milk and make sure you're not bringing those stressors into that baby because that is
Yeah.
a lot. So Doula
Now,
is a lot of work, but it's rewarding at the end because, again, taking from somebody who had the doula, had the midwife, went through a lot, and now I'm on the other side, now a doula, and now I can help others. You can do the same too. So don't,
now,
like what you said, don't limit yourself. Use your work, use your testimony to pass the baton to the next person. So,
yes.
yeah,
And something I wanted to go back to was, we've talked about midwives, we've talked about doulas, but what is a midwife versus what is a doula?
yes,
So the
yes, yes.
midwife is the
Perfect.
trained clinician. And so they're the medical provider. And then a doula is not a medical provider. We're more of the emotional, physical, like I say, informative, informational personnel or trained professional that's helping you. So there is a difference. Your doula is not going to be doing vaginal checks on you unless they are a midwife or they are a monitress or something
Mhm.
like that. So that's something that we don't do.
Yes.
And I don't know if anybody else wants to say if anybody has any questions, pertaining to, me differentiating that, but pretty much that's what the differentiation is between that. And then going back to what you were saying about having a doula. So for myself, I transitioned from my birth work into my postpartum work. So just because that baby has been born, I don't just be like, okay, well, hands off.
Yeah.
So I do check-ins with my moms 24 hours, 48 hours to 72 hours after I'm coming back. Like when the milk comes in, I'm coming back at a week postpartum. And then if they decide to have me as their postpartum doula, and then that's when, I'll transition into that role as the postpartum doula. But like you were saying, having someone there that's knowledgeable about breastfeeding is so, so important. So, so important.
Mhm.
Because I remember when I had my first baby, I cried and cried and cried until I was blue in the face because my nipples were raw. They were, uh, I had blood blisters, didn't know what was
Oh my
going on.
God.
And I'm like, this baby is just crying. I'm crying because I'm in pain. My mom looking like, girl, I don't know. You the youngest and you 20 something. So she's like, I don't remember, And so if I would have had a doula, and the crazy part about it is I did have a birth doula. I had a birth doula, but I didn't have anyone that was there that was knowledgeable that could hold my hand through
Mhm.
that process
Mhm.
also. So, sometimes with doula work, it's not always, you have these rosy experiences that you're like, oh, I'm gonna be a doula. It's like every person that I have come in contact with when I was pregnant or who I experienced as my doula, it's like it showed me what I don't want to be. And you have to look at those situations for what they are because they're learning lessons in itself. But it's like I've been taught like what I don't want to be. And that was one thing that showed me what type of doula I want to be and how I want to show up for my clients, because it's like I don't want to be out here with raw nipples or have my client out there with raw nipples crying, not knowing what's going on, and they can't pick up the phone and call me
Yeah.
because it's like, oh no, I'm not your postpartum doula. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I wish I had someone that would tell me, girl, you don't need to give that baby no formula. You don't need to, you know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
always say, that baby not getting enough milk. You
Mhm.
got to give them some
Mhm.
formula. And that's what happens when, you get that little bit of information in your head, and then he's like, oh, well, I can't breastfeed. That's just an immediate
Mhm.
signal to the woman that like, oh, my body is not made to do this. I can't do this.
Mhm.
I have to give formula. But it's like, it's something that you have to work at, but you need that encouragement. And I feel like that's where a doula or a lactation consultant or IBCLC or whoever it may be that has some type of specialization in breastfeeding and lactation kind of comes in, and they can hold your hand and tell you what to expect and tell you all the things that that make that journey more bearable. Because I did end up exclusively pumping, and that's a whole nother thing we have to get into.
Girl.
But because
Yes.
of that, I never actually breastfed. I just exclusively pumped because it was just so painful. And it's like if I would have had an IBCLC or something that I could have went to, or a doula that referred me to that, then I could have had an actual breastfeeding journey with the baby latched on to me. But I didn't have that. And I feel in a sense that I was robbed of that because my doula never told me about those things. And so I feel, that's one of our biggest things too is having the resources or that resource bank where we're able to, tell our clients, or it doesn't even have to be a client, tell other women, hey, I know this person, I know this pelvic floor therapist, this is her number, get in touch with her. Or I know this chiropractor, get in touch with this chiropractor, and I feel that, so many women need resources outside of that, but it's just kind of putting it all together. So like how Monica was saying, having a provider trainer, we need to be all on the same page across the
Mhm.
board.
Yeah. And just to piggyback what's crazy, you talking about exclusively pumping. Baby, I was exclusively breastfeeding and wish I could really was pumping because shoot, I couldn't. The moment I used to pop the boob out at Walmart, pop the boob out at Paw Patrol. Like I was tired of popping my boob out. Like I needed a break,
Yeah.
and again, like how you were talking about nobody didn't tell you. I was told, no, the first 6 weeks, just exclusively put her on the boob. Baby, after the 6 weeks, she just only wanted the boob. She
Yeah.
didn't even want the bottle. She didn't even want that. But I will say, for you all mothers who are on WIC, I would highly suggest you make sure you tap in on that lactation
Yeah.
consultant side, because I will say I was on WIC right after I had Ori. They had the telehealth for the breastfeeding. I was up like 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, or it was cluster feeding. I was at my wit's end. I was like up. I barely ain't had no sleep. I didn't know what to do. I utilized that telehealth with that WIC. I was talking to somebody in California, and she was a Chinese lady, but she helped me out. She
Yeah.
coached me, and it was a blessing between them and YouTube. That's how I made it through breastfeeding,
Mhm.
like those first few months, because I didn't have no clue what that cluster feeding was. Like, what the heck? I'm crying every day, like, God, that's it. I'm going to get some formula. I bought a formula. I'm like, I just don't want to do it. Let me
Mhm.
try another day.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I want you all to know, like, use those resources. And if you on WIC, you better utilize that WIC.
Mhm.
Again, government assistance is for you to use it for when you need it. And then once you ready, you got your bounce back, okay, pass it off to the next person. That's exactly how I did it. And I'm grateful for it. Because again, if I didn't have that telehealth, if I wasn't able to phone them, they are available 24 hours. 24 hours, you can be able to call them and you can show them. Once you breastfeed, that's another thing, baby. You don't care about who's seeing your nipple. You don't care who's seeing nothing, baby. You just trying to get this milk to this baby so they
Mhm.
can just be quiet, okay? Like, no.
Yes.
So I want you all to really be aware, like, yes, all these resources are important, and your doula will be able to provide you that and be that guiding light to let you know, like, hey, with your birthing plan, do you have everything in place for after you have the baby? What are you going to do? Are you going to use formula? Are you going to pump? Do you have your breast pump? Did you get your breast pump through the insurance? That's another thing. Go through your job. Your job may give you a free car seat. It may give you the free breast. Utilize all your resources, but that's where the doula comes in and be that advocate for you. So, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's
Let's
see.
see.
I'm going to say, you want to do 10 more minutes because it'll be 9:30.
Sure.
You good?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
I'm trying to
fine.
see if I don't see any questions. So, I guess we're finna slowly wrap it up, but we did good, girl, for our first time.
Yes, girl.
I mean, it's so easy
We did
because
good,
we're
good.
talking about our life. So, it's
Yeah.
like,
But you know what? Like how you said, us talking about those experiences and stuff is so important because I never want any woman that I come in contact with to think that, I've just had this easy
okay,
pregnancy, easy
okay.
journey. It's like it has not been easy. And it's through these experiences that I have become the doula that I am now. And it's like, I'm so grateful for them. And I remember telling my mom, I was like, Mom, I don't understand like why I keep running into all of these people that are showing me what not to do. Like what not to do. It's like, this is not the type of doula that I want to be. This is not the kind of, service I think anybody should be providing someone, especially not paying for. And it's like, it took those things to make me, I say, a well-rounded doula,
Yeah.
because it's just like, girl, I never want anybody to feel the way that I felt. And that's why I'm so passionate about this too, because it's like, women, when they're pregnant, that is one of the most vulnerable states that they're ever be
Girl,
in. They're taken advantage of, and especially when they're postpartum, they're not
girl.
listened to. And it's like, you need somebody to advocate for you. And one thing that I want, if I could tell any woman one thing, doulas is not something just for rich white women. You need a doula, girlfriend.
Yeah.
I don't care if you Black, Asian,
Okay.
Hispanic,
Spanish.
whatever. You need a doula. And there's
Period.
a doula out there for you. And it's like, there's so many out here that you can pick your flavor. You know what I'm saying? There's no excuse for you not to have one. Pick your flavor, girl.
Period. But no, exactly what you said. Like, even for me and like my postpartum, like now I've been sitting on videos. Like, I was even telling you for years, I
Yeah.
blogged my whole pregnancy, I blogged my postpartum, but I was sitting on it because my that postpartum, that first year with my daughter, it got so dark. I didn't recognize myself. I'm healed now. I can talk
Mhm.
about it freely without crying. Before, when I start choking, my voice start cracking and stuff. But now I'm fully healed and can share it. But it goes deep, and I know mine was just lightweight from what other women
Yeah.
may experience or currently even experiencing now. So again, it's really about sharing your testimony. And even those of you all who may have went through postpartum or have your own story, you helping your cousin, helping your sister who pregnant, telling her, don't try to gatekeep about what happened in your postpartum to make you look all cute and stuff. No, I'm gonna let y'all, baby, I went through it. Like, I only have a handful of pictures of myself that first year because I didn't want to take no pictures because I didn't recognize myself. I didn't like myself. It went deep for me, but I'm back and I'm better. Like, it can change. Like, you can heal, you can grow, but you have to have that support and you have to utilize your resources. And like what you said, you don't have to be rich to get a doula. You don't
Mhm.
have to you don't have to be in a certain tax bracket to get a doula. A doula is needed. It's not no one person, one type of criteria. No, if you're pregnant right now, if you're thinking about having a baby, you need a doula. That's the point blank period. Because
Mhm.
again, yes, your family may be there, but you don't know to switch up. And again, like what you said, pregnancy, them they'll play on your top with them hormones. They'll think you soft, like, oh, and then also that's another thing. A doula, even a postpartum doula, is needed because in United States, women have to go back to the workforce so quick. That's another reason why some things start shaking in my thing because I was not ready to go back. And you mean
Mhm.
to tell me you finna push me to go? I'm not like these other women that trying to be superwoman. No, I'm not ready. I wasn't mentally ready. And I do see why now other countries, women take up to a year off because it's really that serious. Like, your hormones have to adjust back. Your body has to adjust back. Everything has shifted and people don't understand the seriousness. We literally just birthed out a baby. When we're birthing, we're in a transition of we could we can go to heaven with our maker at a drop of a dime. Like, they don't understand.
Oh,
Like,
that was so funny.
I'm
But
sorry,
you're
but
right. You're
when
right.
you
You're right.
when you
You're
in
right.
me, baby, that ring of fire, I felt the fire. Like, shoot, but I made it through. I made it through. Like,
Yes. Yes.
No, but in all seriousness, like birthing is serious. Postpartum is even more serious. And again, if you're going back to the workforce, that doula will be able to create that postpartum plan for you. Okay, you finna go back to work. Okay, make sure you get these bottles up. You finna meal prep. Make sure you schedule for if you go breastfeed. What do you need a break? That's another thing. Schedule a break for yourself. I don't care what all these other people be saying. Oh, once you have a baby, it's stuck with you. No, create the village. I don't care if it's one day a week, an hour. Go outside, go walking. Try to find somebody. The dad, go get your nails done. Go walk. Go to Kroger and grocery shop by yourself. How about that? Because I
Yeah.
used to love that. Let me just go to the grocery store by myself without carrying this
Yes.
newborn. Like,
Hmm.
let me just go to the gas station. It's just the simple things, and that would just give you time to yourself. Because as a mom, we don't even have time to decompress. Because once the baby go to sleep, we like, oh shoot, we looking at the house. Let me clean up. Don't let you have your mate. Oh, can I get some? Like, no, I don't want. I don't even feel like myself.
Yeah.
So y'all, a doula is needed. I mean, we can go on and on about it, but we just really want this live to be very informational, very relaxed, so you all can see the importance of a doula. Also, hear our stories, a little bit of our stories, so you all can understand why we're passionate about this work, how we feel, and the impact that we're trying to make. So before we wrap it up, I'm gonna pass it back to you. Any final closing or anything else you want to say?
So I will say, girl, get you a doula. If you're pregnant or if you're in postpartum, get you a doula. Seek out one. If you don't know one, reach out to myself. Or you can reach out to her and she
Yes.
will also help you out. We're here to help you with whatever it may be, even if it's not a doula or just any type of resource that you're looking for. We want to help women, and I don't want you to think, oh, was she gonna charge me some for helping me find somebody or another resource? No, it's like
No.
that so many people try to monetize off of just giving a little bit of information that could be
Mhm.
so beneficial to someone, and it's like
Mhm.
that's not what we're here for. So I want, if you have
Okay.
anybody out there that's needing some type of help where you need us to point you in the right direction, then we can definitely do that. Okay, baby, go in the living room. My baby over here, girl, trying to
Look,
drink
that's
out my
how we
water
know it's
bottle.
time to wrap up. See, that's why I put mine to
Exactly.
sleep
And she
before
needs to
all
be
this.
asleep. And then the second thing I would say is I'm having a webinar on Thursday, my SIDS webinar.
Yes.
So this is SIDS Awareness Month. And so SIDS is something that I don't think is talked about enough, and
Yes.
it's not talked about correctly.
Yes.
So we're going to do a deep dive into what your pediatrician does not want you to know about SIDS, and actually the reason behind why so many babies are dying from it. And so we're going to do a deep dive into that, and it's sure to be a good conversation. I'll be presenting some peer review articles, and then we'll have some discussions surrounding it. So join me this Thursday at 11 a.m. and you can just visit my page, and I'll have the information. You can scroll through it and see the information that I have up. I have an event on the events portion on Facebook. So if you go to my page and go to the events tab, you'll be able to see that. But yes, I would love for you all to be there to listen. It's at 11 a.m. So during the lunch hour,
Period.
I pass it back to you.
You better plug in anything else you want to add before we wrap it up. Plug it all in.
Yes. But
You
I
good?
think that's it.
Okay.
I think
All
that's
right.
it. Yeah. I think that's
So,
it.
just to wrap it up, we appreciate everybody for joining us. Even if you catch the replay, just drop a comment and say replay, or just drop a comment. And also for future reference, y'all, don't be scared. I see Monica on here. Hey, girl.
Yes.
Hey. But we do appreciate you all for in the comments, liking or just viewing. Again, we are, even with other doulas I've been speaking out to, and I know she's been speaking to other doulas as well. We are really trying to build a community because it's power in numbers, and it ain't about us. Like what she said, I'm gonna end it with this. I finished my doula training, I want to say the end of June, beginning of July. Not even 2 weeks later, one of my friends from St. Louis, she called me talking about, my sister is at the hospital. They finna do da-da-da-da-da. I need for you to talk da-da-da. I instantly got in doula mode, and baby, I was just only 2 weeks out. I was like, shut. I was like, I feel good. It was just flowing so good, and I was empowering the dad. I was asking them, okay, so how do you all feel? Then I checked back in. They was like, oh, I just appreciate. It was just something so small like that, just getting on the phone while they were in the hospital and the doctors was saying something, wanted to do a certain way with the delivery. They was like, no, they wanted to wait. It just changed everything. I'm like, dang, I made a little small impact just like that. So that's what doula means. Like, the money go flow regardless. So God is gonna bless us regardless. But when it comes to birthing, when it comes to life or death of a mother and a child, nah, we gonna give you the resources, or we gonna pass the resources
Right.
to someone else, or give you someone else that could be more beneficial, because it's not about money. Because if y'all know y'all wealth and y'all blessings, it's gonna come regardless. So the main thing is the support of mothers, motherhood, and the babies, and also just making sure you all get that rainbow at the end. Because again, it may get dark, it may feel lonely, but it's not gonna be like that forever. So we appreciate you all for joining. Stay
Oh, I
tuned.
just got one more thing.
Okay, she got one more thing,
I
y'all.
know. Look,
Okay.
I forgot. I'm over here. My wheels turning in my head. I'm thinking. Okay, so we have our community baby shower. So there's this new organization that's
Yes.
on the horizon called Mississippi Alliance of Maternal Advocates, and it's actually an organization that has been made by myself and Doula Nikita. So if you're in the Jackson area or Central Mississippi area, then I'm sure you know of Doula Nikita. And if you're in Miami or Jamaica, because she be all over the place. But we have started this new organization where we will be, like heading off this thing with a community baby shower. And it's going to be called Mom's Giving, and it's going to be November 17th. And that's a Sunday at 3 p.m. And it will be at the Briarwood Arts Center. So if you're in the area, please come to see us. And then the beginning of next year, we'll start to have more of our informational sessions where we'll do like education for moms, educating them on the birth and postpartum side of things. And then also having doula office hours where you can come in and talk to a doula about different things. And so if you're interested, then reach out to me.
Yes, yes. Make sure y'all put that on the calendar, November 17th at 3 p.m. Also, just to plug in for me, I am accepting doula clients. I finally have the doors open. The doors are open. Y'all come on in. But yes,
At the church.
I am accepting doula clients, and also lactation support. So if you are planning on breastfeeding, even those of you all who may not be pregnant or thinking about getting pregnant, because also another thing I'll talk about in a later life is your nutrition. Again, pregnancy, yes, they'll tell you certain things, but a lot of them, they don't really focus on their nutrition. Their nutrition plays a lot when it comes to preeclampsia, a lot of diseases that may possibly start arising even during pregnancy. Also, when you're breastfeeding, what you're eating, digesting in your body, that can lower your milk supply or raise it. So again, I am accepting clients, but that's all on my plate, because what I tell you, I'm learning boundaries. So that's all. But again, we appreciate everybody who checked in this live. Stay tuned for more lives. Next week, Crystal, she will be on live, and she will be talking about postpartum, because she's a postpartum doula. So I can't wait to hear what she has to say. And then also just make sure you all stay tuned, and make sure you all tap in with the SIDS webinar this Thursday at 11 a.m. Right?
Uh-huh.
Here, you see how I ran that back so smooth? Okay. All right. So yes, we appreciate you all. And again, we'll talk to you all soon. Bye.
Bye.
And put my tools up. Bye.